So yeah. Anyway, so Frauds of Waterdeep. Yep. I'm joined by Joe, who has got engaged.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
I'm glad that we got that factually accurate. I'm also joined by a Martin.
Hello.
Oh, you guys have covered this before, haven't you? By another Martin.
Hello.
By a Ben. You guys.
Hi there.
You do. You guys don't coordinate. There's no way that you guys would have coordinated. And a Josh.
I might shorten my name to just Joe, just to confuse things.
Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah.
We did say you had to change.
My brother is called Josh, actually. Anyway, there you are.
So is this a stereotype? Are most D&D players named Martin and Ben?
He plays rugby.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, it is the third day, the 22nd of Nightle, drawing down winter solstice in the year of the three ships sailing. Dale reckoning 1492. 461 North reckoning. You find yourself in the Goblin Bazaar, which is a bizarre bazaar. Bazaar. And that's where we closed kind of like last session. So, just as a reminder for our long-suffering fan, I know, and that's me. Jesus, what has happened? Stuff has happened. You guys have been down in Undermountain, sorting some drow out on the third level with the Hobgoblin Warlord. He said to you guys, hey, if you can get yourselves up to the Goblin Bazaar, then we could maybe get a trade route through to Skullport. And he's feeling quite bullshit, having just kind of defeated the drow. You've now made your way through into the Goblin Bazaar. Went through some of the levels of the second level of Undermountain, some of the rooms of the second level of Undermountain. Kind of sneaked past the undead beholder to get up there, and that's where you're kind of located. I think you probably would be taking a long rest at the point that you kind of got there. So let's go and do that in Fancy Grounds, just for the to get rid of it. That's a short rest, so let's actually give you guys a long rest. Okay. So the bazaar, let's just kind of run through a little bit about that. It's mostly based in what looked to be some kind of large temple room or what have you. You met Jareth, the king of the goblins. Time is money, friend, is mostly what he says.
Best Photoshop ever.
He's kind of like retired off. Ode started to kick some stuff off as he was trying to get his stuff down, and the whole thing is just a mishmash. It's like a melting pot of different freak shows, as much as you can tell. You met with Shivu, who kind of handed across the Displaced Beast, Nutmeg. I love that name, Nutmeg. That's what I call my Displaced Beast if I had one. And there are other people there, Dalanoth and Tame Alice from the kind of Church of Mielikki, and various tents selling widely different wares. The whole place just kind of stinks a little bit of people sweating, but also of kind of different scents and different smells. So I circulated around a document kind of outlining the stalls that are currently on the bazaar. Clearly the viewers won't have seen that, but you've got Shivu's Test of Bravery, which is a kind of where you put a stake in, and Shivu kind of like that, really quite fast. And if you flinch away or what have you, then she takes the stake. If you stay there the whole, then you take the stake, double it. There's old Bess's trinkets, where a somewhat fussy and haggard lady runs the stall. She's clearly Medusa, snakes kind of like giving it stacks around. This is Medusa's international symbol for I'm a Medusa. She's just in case you need that. But she is wearing kind of like mirrored shades, like she's out of like the Matrix or something. to
Red
stop,
pill, blue pill.
yeah, to stop you from turning into stone. And she's got a mixture of magical and non-magical treasures, but they're all characterized by the fact that they're all kind of able to be carried in a hand. It's Jonty's equipment. Jonty looks like a fish out of water. He's always slightly behind the curve. It's like it looks like I do when I go into like a modern bar. I'm kind of like, what do I do? Can I have a pint, please? Or in fact, a coffee house. If I ever go to a coffee house and they say, what would you like? I just say, coffee. How would you like it? I go, like, warm. So that's kind of what he looks like. There's Magda's poisons. And she's now Magda and old Bessie, maybe they're lovers. The general theory is they probably are. That seems to be the assumption. But she kind of spends most of her time in her own tent, and she sells poisons, and she gets a real steady stream of customers coming through, and the customers are from kind of lots of different underdarky places and lots of different accents from above surface that you kind of hear. This is very much an underbelly to Waterdeep, so it's not just you guys and some stalls. There's quite a number of people kind of around, keeping themselves to themselves by and large. Then we have Sam Gush Funk's Goblin Engineering and Construction, which is as crazy as you can imagine it to be. There's about 10 goblins there just banging. Bang, 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 clang, bang, bang. But they're making stuff for boomsticks and crazy weapons and all kinds of weird gadgetry. Boom! Quite often happens over there. Anybody that wanders across there will see that they're trying to create a...
combustion engine?
No, a flamethrower out of smoke, powder, and oil, and that's going about as well as you'd imagine. Depends upon whether you want to keep your skin or not, really. But there we have it. Then we have Marvin. My name's Marvin. I'm all right. I'm not great, but I'm all right. I'm a little bit sad. I haven't got very many trinkets.
Birmingham.
I was going to say, is he from Birmingham? He sounds like he's from Birmingham.
Black country.
I come from Birmingham.
Can I just say I am actually from Dudley?
Is that what Gnomish sounds like? Is that what canon in the game?
I hear you have a canal.
No, you see, Marvin.
It's called a cut, actually bad.
Marvin is actually a goblin, but he's wearing a papier-mâché costume that makes him look like a warforged. You see this kind of like green nose. It's like a kid's like really badly made like Halloween costume.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, that's it. The Twitch police are on us.
£2 Iron Man costume bought from Amazon.
Basically, I've got some trinkets. They're not very good. They're all right, but yeah, they're not very good. I wish they were a lot better, but more people are trying to steal them from me, wouldn't they?
What he's actually saying is they are the best items.
I mean, Brian, the size of a planet I've got here, but all I'm doing is...
I had the reference.
All I'm doing is selling trinkets. Then, kind of like this, located away from the main area, there's a wood-panelled room, leather chairs, very much like a gentleman's club. Smells of cigar smoke. And there's 3 desks, and then there's a small pit with a kind of red, kind of like rope, like around a VIP center in the center of it. And in the center of it, there is two groups of humans. One bearing the symbols of the Centaurium, one bearing possible symbols you don't recognise. Maybe you, Ode, would recognise it as being the Shadow Thieves of Arm, and then some drow. And it looks, you kind of stumble into there, and kind of everybody kind of turns to you and then stops. Sat in the chair, there's a couple of clearly wealthy individuals and just kind of observing events down below, and every so often nodding as one of the people in the pit kind of looks back. And they're trading stock, and it seems to be that they're talking about the potential for a really good harvest in the south. There's some kicking off in Tethia, in the border around Calamsham. There's a need for some slaves, some resources to be sent there to further some kind of nefarious plot. There's also quite a big sale of black opals seem to be made just on the side. And primarily this is a slave trading exchange, but rather than it being a more traditional exchange where the goods are up on people kind of go and choose it, it's very much like a stock exchange like you would find in a Renaissance city or even in the modern world. The goods never ever go to the exchange, the people just making paper deals, and then they're transported off elsewhere. So you can form your own view about it, but when people talk about sentient creatures in that third person, it's quite chilling. Then there is pussy and ass, just checking to make sure that the door's not.
Cats and donkeys.
Yeah, that's right. Outside of this kind of quite large tent from which there's quite a lot of noise coming. There's a guy who's kind of got leather chaps on, kind of cowboy style hat. He's going, Percy, we got all kinds of Percy. And if you can find Percy elsewhere, then fuck it.
Is there anywhere to buy crucifixes, garlic, and holy water before we go in?
Strangely, there's a dearth of those kind of things exactly in this location. But it appears that they accommodate most desires. The difficulty is that the inner tents aren't that thick, so you're not that far away from some other sweaty arsehole, which might be why you've gone in there in the first place. But if it wasn't what you got in for, it could be a little bit disconcerting. So you just have to, put your fingers in your ear and think of Waterdeep, I guess.
Put your back into it.
Take a point of inspiration there, Fenn. And it's very the men, women, boys, and girls are very fluent in lots of different languages. They can say slip it in at least a dozen languages, because that seems to be their main. I like how Joe's drinking his prosecco like somebody's about to steal it from him. It was kind of like there we go. There's Grugak slobber, which is kind of low-grade food, predominantly rat-based, possibly some fungi, possibly rat shit. I haven't eaten the fungi. It's always incredibly busy. And then there's the Cali Calf, which is mid-grade food, which has got slightly more plump rats, and they sell mushrooms. You're not quite sure what the difference is, but there we go. And they have some what they claim to be chicken, but you've never ever seen chicken, heard chicken. Doesn't really look that much like chicken. Bacon sandwiches to die for. You can get Waterdeep brown sauce, which has got a symbol of like the palace on it, but nobody's quite sure why it's called.
WD.
Nobody's quite sure why it's called
brown sauce.
WD brown sauce. Nobody knows. It's
WD5.
I'm assuming nobody never looks at the bottle.
And weirdly, they make some fantastic, really dark rye bread, which is deceptively kind of rich and nutty and quite tasty, actually. It smells beautiful. There's Albanese's documents. He's a forger. He's a dwarf, but it's unclear as to whether he's a male or a female dwarf. But he is the best forger on the Sword Coast. Just ask him. He'll tell you that. Also, his sign is outside in kind of pretty good handwriting for Piergar and Paladin, who's one of the most famous leaders of Waterdeep. And anybody who has studied and been around Waterdeep would know that to be the case. So I have a printer next to me, and this is what it's printing out. They are from Legend of Zelda. I can only assume
Sure
that.
they are.
But Kenny has got a hold of something. And then we have the biggest thief in the whole place, which is Vincent, who is basically a lawyer. He's got small. He's a doppelganger, and that's very clear. And a lot of the time, he is in his doppelganger form. And his whole business model is the fact that the laws of Waterdeep don't allow advocates, so you have to represent yourself. So what he does is he adopts the guise of the accused and represents them in their shape.
That's a really good idea.
That's amazing. It's like, why are you here at this?
So he uses his really in-depth knowledge of the laws of Waterdeep and whatnot, and for the right amount of money, we'll kind of go and represent him.
Yeah, but you can totally foil like a zone of truth that way as
He
well.
Very
get you lot off.
That's
Yeah.
very clever.
Very useful.
And by the way, if anybody wants to use these characters, I probably will post them up on the mostly off topic. I'll put a link in because I think it's quite fun. None of this is in the book. I've just made all the shit up as it happens. There you go.
Very good.
Now, if you can get the reference for this next one, then I will give you 3 points of inspiration. Don't Google it. This is Josh who's like Googling it. It's Wally Feats. He's a cartographer.
I'm reading the thing.
Wally is a small halfling. He's got the thickest glasses you've kind of ever seen. He's kind of always kind of like puts them down, and then can't find them again, picks them up again. He's got maps everywhere. He talks incessantly about the nature of the cosmic wheel of the planes, and he basically says, "Look, my maps aren't accurate, but that's because you're in the wrong place. In an infinite multiverse, then my maps must be representing somewhere that exists." So if you happen to not be in the right place, that's not the map that's wrong, it's you're in the wrong place, because the maps must be there because it's an infinite universe, so clearly it exists. So he does sell what he claims to be accurate maps on the mountain and Faerun beyond, though he does warn that Halasta is known to move things around, so there's a shelf life on that. And he's really interested. He will pay for knowledge and corroboration of the routes that you've taken in Undermountain as well. Then there's Kareem's Goods, who is selling Zakaran equipment. So think of Zakara as the land from Aladdin's Arabia. So, I mean, clearly I'm appropriating Arabian culture. Kareem and his family all hail from Zakara, far to the south. You probably think of his goods as being Kalashite. So the very kind of fine silks, really kind of like beautiful mosaic patterns. I'm not quite sure why they can't depict people and stuff like that, and why it has to be abstract iconography. Maybe it's something to do with the cultures that they are appropriating. Who knows? He's got
getting a bit meta.
Yeah, he's got curved scimitars, beautiful mosaic patterns, and fantastic narcotics. And I don't want to characterize the Middle East as a source of drugs coming in, but yeah, he's got quite a lot of strong narcotics. One of them is coffee, which he's clearly. Comes and you see the bags, they're all Adran's Jungle Tours Adran, the merchant prince of Chult, and there's very many spices and such like that he brings. There's Emmanuel, who is an Eladrin, and that's again very obvious. It's clearly not Elven, he's Elven plus, and he just is arrogant to the fore. He looks down and in disdain on all the others that are there. There's lots of rumours surround why he's there when he clearly doesn't like to be. He's the one with the mirror at the back, which kind of has Sylvan writing kind of fading in and out of it.
Can we make it then that if they look down on people, Ladrin are speaking with a French, particularly a Parisian accent?
I do not like it here. I mean, it attracts all the wrong sorts. Ooh la la, sacre bleu. The French phrases are available upon the request. So that's how he talks.
Nice.
And Polycycle, his fairy dragon, kind of flutters and flaps around, helping him. Though Polycycle treats Emmanuel as if Emmanuel is Polycycle's familiar. And when Emmanuel is getting ready to kind of like bed down for the night, Polycycle will say, I dismiss you now. And then we have Grushak Spikes, an orc armourer with a crew of armourers kind of like working for him. The orcs that work the forge are all just angry. They're angry young men. And at times when they get drunk.
Back to Martin kissing pussy.
So that's basically a displacer beast.
A
juvenile displacer beast.
Actually, do you know what? Yeah, with tentacles on him, definitely, yeah.
That tail is inhuman. I mean, genuinely it's inhuman, but...
Is in feline?
Okay, that's going to become. I am turning that into the thumbnail for this episode. That's all I'm doing. I'm not quite sure how, but I am. So they're all kind of like, and when they get drinking, they get even more hungry, and then every so often they kind of like just start playing, but they're like, that's their kind of like music. If you get chatting to them, all right, they'll be like, hands grind axe. That is what I do to get the darkness of my soul away.
The edgiest of all.
Edgelord.
Edgelords.
I'll go for that. And their armor represents that. It's just aggressive. It's just spiky, and it's built to like be in somebody's face. It's like, ugh! You know, if armor was built by angry young men, this is the armor that they would produce. They can produce full plate. And the full plate that they can produce can carry an enhancement bonus. So essentially, they can produce +1, +2 full plate. You can't afford it, guys. Not yet. let's just get that out.
Oban could sell his full gold full plate for.
Did we establish it was definitely gold?
Yeah, because it's got like half the AC that it would normally have because it's so soft. And it's not so much gold now as flakes of gold from the way that you just scraped against corridors and were in combat with it. So that's
iron pyrite.
Yeah. So that's the kind of main flavour of kind of like what is in the bazaar. And with our kind of slightly out of game, there's the Goblin Bazaar faction, where if you complete kind of activities that help support the bazaar, then you can gain renown with them, and that'll kind of unlock additional things for you. Obviously some discounts in there, but you'll be able to kind of like start to use it as a base, start to get intel from them, start to do some of those downtime activities, gain access, more ready access to the resources that they have, and so on.
Can we get free entry if we help them out?
Yeah, that kind of thing. You've got to be like exalted with them to get free entry.
Yeah, I was gonna say getting rid of for the goblins took ages.
Yeah, you've got to go out and grind timber more ears or some shit like that.
It's behind a paywall.
Yeah, it's a microtransaction. It basically is. Everything is a microtransaction here. Time is money, friend.
Can I get 20 loot chests?
What do we get for the pre-order?
I will pay an exorbitant amount of real-world money.
There is Frauds of Waterdeep, the only game with surprise mechanics built right into the game. Because they're not gambling, they're a surprise mechanic. So there is a notice board that Jareth, King of the Goblins, has kind of like had erected. And there are four strips of paper that are kind of like on the notice board. And you kind of head over there, and one of them is to bring the detached penis of Shun Shareth, Captain of the Xanathar's Guild, in a Spider's Eyes watch post. The logic being that if you detached his penis, the likelihood is probably dead. You could chop a hand off and leave him alive. Sorry?
How can they verify it's his though?
Well, frankly, if you're willing to bring a drow penis to blag it, then you probably.
I don't know.
Why did you chop off all those hands? If you chopped off,
I was gonna say.
Just use a finger and bluff.
So basically, you could go and get like an apple, put it in your drow hand, and say, "He's just well hung." There's the head of.
Just use the arm and say he's a bit.
Yeah.
It's what all drow penises look like.
This is why drow priestesses keep drow men around. Is that what we're saying? Yo is well hung, bro. That's what the priestesses say. Shit. Bring the head. I hope I'm recording all this. This is just pure comedy gold. Here we are. Good stuff. All right, let me get back to my notes because that's really screwed. Yeah, but so the second one is you've got to bring the head of Nadia the Unbent, Captain of the Xanathar's Guild of the Dead Eyes Watch Post, and you recognise that name as what the Weirrat was calling her, so you assume that's where you kind of sneak through. There's also a desire to locate fresh dwarven ale from Garrox's brewery, and there's a little map. And if you think about the hallway that you skirted around the edge of, it looks as if it's kind of the other end of that. from the kind of way the map is sketched out. And the fourth one is you've got to steal a human baby boy called Toby from a Waterdeepian family in good standing from the city above. Now, if you think about...
we take them all.
If you think
Options.
Think about Jareth and how he dresses, and think about that film, and the little baby that was stolen was Toby.
Power of the Boat.
Yeah, about the
Which babe?
Shit, I should have listened to the soundtrack.
The babe with the power.
What babe?
The babe with the power. What power? The power of the babe. What power? The power of the voodoo, voodoo, hoodoo. You do the power of the babe.
It's how Carrion casts spells. Right there, I think it's one person. It's like
You're now
a
frozen.
verbal component. And there are a few of the nails that clearly held pieces of parchment that have been kind of like ripped off. Okay. So that gives you a feel for kind of like where you are, what's available to you. You do have downtime actions. You can kind of spend as much time here as you want. So if you want to spend some of those downtime actions that you have, you can do so. You can kind of use, just call out a few kind of downtime actions that you might want to do. There is pit fighting available here. There is kind of, and if anybody kind of wants to go on and kind of watch it, you'll find that the pit fighting, the pinnacle of the pit fighting, is against essentially ogres. But these are ogres who kind of like have kind of a black waist belt and a black kind of like thing goes underneath, and they have very stylized kind of like hair. And kind of very stylized.
I'll pass, thanks.
Very stylized fighting style, and so they kind of.
Do they all look really patient?
And they kind of like bow to each other, and it's all very oriented.
We would struggle against them at level 12.
Yeah, you were level 12.
Yeah, and they were nearly kicking my ass at level 12.
They were kicking your ass.
So again, if anyone's
dodgy,
interested in what that might be, just check out the Tales and Troubles videos on the YouTube channel, and there's I can't remember, up to like episode 15 on that.
That's good
These
episode.
are the same ones that Diego sliced his not just his initials, his entire signature, address, every single title he's ever had, and probably
There was
some
one.
others.
Diego also threw a rapier at them as a projectile weapon and failed miserably.
If he had succeeded.
To be fair, if you're interested in watching it, it's quite an easy episode to find with the title of it.
What's the
Which
title
is?
of it?
Yeah, I thought wasn't it like the ogres were kung fu fighting or something?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
There was a kung fu fighting. It was
If I remember
very
correctly.
frightening. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Okay, so it's up to you guys what you want to do. We've had some offline kind of like chit chat about this, so I got a feel for it. But if we just start with what is on my screen above me, so Carrion, if you kind of want to just describe what you want to do and kind of how long do you want to be kind of like staying there for, what have you?
I would very much like to have a little mooch around and see what's available, but on the whole, I would like to go find a position at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to read the herbalism book that I found down in the library to be sort of torture room place.
Okay.
And while reading that, basically just keep an ear out to just kind of get a lay of the land, hear what's going on around me, what else is kind of happening. Because at the minute I've been unconscious for 20 years, so it's basically absorb knowledge in any way I can at the moment.
Yeah,
and then
okay.
if somebody wants to go to Waterdeep later, then I'd be up for doing that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So as you're mooching around, you kind of hear a voice. It's kind of all right to see another one of my kind down here. I mean, I'd be happy, but I don't really feel happiness anymore. I've got a little bit of tingling, but that's just probably the cold.
You don't feel cold.
Oh. Well, that's good to know. You must be defective then.
If you're tingling, you probably need an oil.
Oh. I had an oil once. It was all right, but not great.
Get another one. It's good for you.
Oh, where'd you get oil from?
Animal fat.
I don't like animal fat. I mean, it's all right, but I'm not keen.
You're not eating it, you're rubbing it on you.
Well, I'm not going over to pussy and ass.
Well, get it where you can. You might find more of a tingle if you did.
Oh. I don't think I like tingles. They make me tingle.
So what else have you got then, if not just a tingle?
Well, I've got my trinkets. Do you want a trinket?
I will peruse the wares.
I mean, they're all right. I mean, a lot of them's trash, actually.
Show me your best three.
Well, I've only got
Warforged to Warforged.
What's a Warforged?
Us.
We're Warforged, are we? I don't think I like war. I mean, it's all right, but I'm not.
Don't have to like it. You just forged in it.
I'm not a big fan of forged either.
Ah well.
Gotta say. I don't
Still
know. What's up.
show us your best three.
I don't know what's up with Aldred.
Show us your best three and your worst three.
My best three and my worst three. Well, I think that's
Your only three.
That's basically my kind of like all right six then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well. Let's have a look then. Whereabouts are my notes? I don't know. I mean, my notes are all right.
You've clearly not noted them, but
I can't really say. Okay, so I sell common and uncommon magical items at reasonable prices. That's a bit weird. Let me just go and have a little look, see at what uncommon magical items I've got in stock then. I think I'm gonna go and click on this thing here. I'm not a big fan of D&D Beyond. I mean, it's all right, but
Oi, we'll never get sponsorship at this rate.
Well, the phone suits is all right, isn't it? But it can be a hassle because you got to do things. Okay, do you want to roll me like a D100?
Ooh.
So these are probably the best ones I've got. But I say best, but I mean they're all a bit shit, really. I wish I had better ones.
How do we double the D10?
Right click.
Do you not right click and make it a percentile?
Okay,
that'll be the easiest.
You make it
thing to do.
percentile and
That's
then
what.
throw it.
Not a big fan of percentiles though. I'm always in the lower quartile.
They've all vanished on me. Realign them. Right click, percentage, drop. 84.
84. Okay, so I've got here. This is one of my good ones. This is it might not look like much, but it's a recent deposit at a bank in Se2. That's in Cormier. I don't think Cormier. It's not got great weather, but it's for 150 gold pieces. I mean, maybe that'd be all right for you. One of your adventuring types brought it over for me. They were on a culvert or a cut through, or what was it again? It's not a canal. Do you want to roll me another?
A canal.
Do you want to roll me another D100 there?
Yeah.
76. And here I've got this book. It's probably pretty good, but I'm not a big fan of reading. It's manners and etiquette. It's about manners. But look, and he opens it up. There's a 4-leaf clover pressed in there. It's good luck, that is. I mean, it's not brought me any good luck, but maybe it'll bring you better luck. What do you reckon to that then? It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can have that for like 3 copper.
No,
I say 3 copper. I mean, like, I'm not a big fan of copper. I'd rather have gold, but I never quite get gold, you see. Do you want to roll me? You want to roll me a D100 again?
Yeah.
23. Now I think you'll like this actually. I think this might be that oil that you were talking of. And he pulls out a glass jar, kind of very plain jam jar style, and it's got really black, quite thick, and he hands it across to you, and the jar is quite heavy. This is oil of slipperiness. Now, it's a bit weird. I put some on myself and I just kept falling over. It was rather embarrassing, I've got to say. It can cover a medium or smaller creature along with the equipment it's carrying. It takes a while to apply, but that's just the way it is. And it means that you can gain the benefit of a freedom of movement spell for 8 hours. Now, I like to stay in one place, so I don't like to move, so I don't really need it. But you can have it for 50 gold if you want.
Okay.
Well, hold on a minute. Let's have a look at your permit. Did you pay the goblins?
I have my manservant has.
Oh, did you pay the
He
gold?
paid the fee to purchase, so if we need be, we're fine on that front.
Oh, did you pay the gold transfer fee for moving money from one person to another?
He will pay for me.
Oh,
I don't carry my own money.
That's a bit good then, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you want to roll me like another D100? 26.
I've got another one.
I've got this here, and he hands you kind of a really tiny, small bottle. This is a potion of growth. That'll make you really big. Not in a way that, living creatures get when they get aroused, but actually larger. It's and then you see in the vial that the kind of liquid contracts down to a bead and then expands out, and it takes a few minutes to kind of go through its full cycle. It's slightly disconcerting, and then he shakes it and it stops the process and it has to settle again. That's 150 gold pieces. Do you want that one too? Did your manservant want that?
We'll keep telling. We're still perusing.
Okay. Well, do you want to keep on rolling for me? Are you going to roll for me then?
I did.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh well, now this is nice because I think this is really beautiful. Apart from the fact it's a bit bland. It's a mosaic tile with a multicoloured glazed surface. You can see all those colours. That's lapis lazuli. That is. I know that because I play myself a little bit of Minecraft now and again. That's emerald. That's a rare ore. That is, but you can trade that with villagers to get stuff. And the rest of the stuff he's got is of that ilk.
I quite fancy the oil of slipperiness and the book.
Yeah, okay. Well, the book costs 3 copper, and the oil of slipperiness is, 50?
Yeah, I'll give him 51 gold.
Okay.
You pass it to me, and then I pass it.
Oh, are you
I send Nix to get Aldred, and then Aldred. So an owl lands on your shoulder and bites your ear until you come to me.
Would he though? I
thought
Nix
isn't biting. Nix isn't biting Aldred's ear.
We were on good terms last time.
It tastes like you can't hear him. He can only talk to me. It sounds like he tastes like a chimera.
Yeah, he doesn't answer to you unless you have to call him Lord Nix, Bane of all Chimera.
Lord Nix, Chimera's Bane. Go get the skinny wizard one with the terrible goatee.
Okay. So the owl comes over to you, Aldred.
I kind of just look at him and
twit woo, woo a twit, twit woo. Then he spins his head all the way around in a kind of equivalent of a dog licking its own testicles. Can you do this kind of way?
I sigh and cast a message, and then just call him instead. My good man, I need to do some purchasing. Come this way.
I do so.
Yeah, okay. You're all right.
Aldred leaves the brothel tent.
so like tucking his trousers and shirt in.
When Aldred goes to the brothel tent, they say, "Your usual, sir."
One of my students.
Oh god.
It's on the rise, isn't it? Sex trade, sex escort stuff in the student population, because that's the way in which they make money. I heard on the news.
Something you don't have a little
Anyone go back to uni as a mature student?
I like the fact that this fleshy here is your manservant. What's it like being a manservant to like a warforged, a forged
I kind of just
violence and darkness and hate?
You can see me like stare daggers at Carrion, and then
oh, it's lovely.
It's
when
all,
they look at you
it's
like
all
that,
right, yeah.
I think you can see the affection on his face. He's got complete loyalty for you. I like that. I like that.
Yes, it's best to have it bred into them early.
I wish I had that kind of thing. Oh, so that's 51 gold pieces, then please.
I'll do that.
Oh, and then you got sales tax, and then you got goods tax, then you got income tax, and then you got bloody tax.
Can someone write this down and tally up at the end? Because I've got the gem set as a different resource.
So I'll be giving you the 51 straight back, so I'll take it off mine.
That's fine then, so that one doesn't count.
Okay, so as soon as you kind of do that, he kind of goes, "Oh, thank you," and then he kind of potters into his tent and comes back with exactly the same, like the book, exactly the same, refreshes it. Oh, the slipperiness, exactly the same, refreshes it.
Perfect.
Okay, and then you kind of like head off back to the bar, and you'll sit in the bar and we'll kind of like narrate a few more things. Okay, Ode.
Before we get properly into it, can I just ask, what was the name of the fella that I'd met at when we got?
I'm grabbing a beer.
I think it was after the whole gunpoint thing.
Oh, Dalanoth.
Harper, or the Harper.
Dalanoth, Dallanoth, and his wife Tamalis.
No.
And I don't think I covered this in the introduction. They basically said that there's a darkness at the heart of the Harpers. He apologised because he was tasked with rescuing you, but he himself he himself got captured and imprisoned, and he showed you the marks that he had suffered from the torture, and he thinks that there's something down in Undermountain that is kind of part of the source of the darkness at the centre of the Harpers. It's like The Darkness on the Edge of Town album by Bruce Springsteen, but it's more.
I told him to go and do one, didn't I?
I think he spat in his face twice. Actually,
as part of before I headed back to the bar, I went and handed the book on etiquette to Ode.
Good one.
I'll use this to roach my cigarettes.
I thought you used blue paper.
Yeah, he hands you the debrets guide to etiquette and modern manners.
I'm like, good. I heard your. I think everyone heard your earlier conversations. So I picked you up a small thing, and then I'll just wander off to the bar.
Yeah. Right.
So you randomly thrick through the book and you find out that the rules about departure before the Queen are less stringent than at one time, when to stir before the sovereign left was positively unforgivable. Nowadays, there should be good and sensible reason for going early. It is acceptable, if not good manners, to ask the household politely in advance. And then you roll that page up as a cigarette.
Yeah.
As long as you remember it each time you...
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That's next to A Brief History of Time and a Dilbert book. I don't know.
Well, at this still, and still after having finished that cigarette from the rolled up page, I'm still feeling a bit on edge. So while on edge, he's going to go make his way over to the 5-finger fillet lady.
Nice.
Oh, it's
Lady Goblin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Person.
But on his way past, he's going to clock the Eladrin and say, "Good morning."
I was pissing by your tent.
Yeah, you think you speak the beautiful language? You are a peasant. And then you kind of see You smell a waft of menthol as he kind of exhales his air out. He's smoking a menthol, leaning against his bike with onions around his neck and strange headwear.
Are you alone? I wish to take to you later.
I shall say this only once. But dear, he
good night to you. And I'm like, why who the 5-finger fella?
Yeah, okay. I showed you a picture of what Shivu looks like last time.
Okay.
Shivu. No, it's not in that bit. It's in this bit. Images. Just so that you kind of like can recall. Ooh, that needs resizing. No, actually, it's probably alright. Share that. And let me just change so that the viewers will be able to see how, frankly, hideous.
Do they look a bit like Fenn?
Oof.
These images come up on a 32-inch TV that is about a foot away from my face. Absolutely terrifying.
It's probably bigger than your head.
Goblin King, I'm just like, oh.
It's life-sized on my screen as well.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just cacked my pants.
Oh, I was like, what's so scary? And then I opened it and wow.
So that's what she looks like. And let me just come back to the Discord so you guys are full frame.
Please get rid of her. Escape.
So is it that she will do it round your hand, or?
Yes, she does it round your hand.
Right.
You here for question.
Is O going to end up being 3 fingers, like 3 strings is 3 strings?
So what kind of check would this be? Would it be performance or?
What is it? So you want to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are 3 stakes. There are some notes that I need to refer to. Are you in for 5, 10, 30, 100 gold?
I ain't want to flash my cash.
And the gold.
I was gonna say let's start with 30.
30 gold. Okay. Put your hand down there. And a little tongue darts out, and you see the end of it just forked, as if it's sliced. I'm not going to slice my own tongue. So
Yeah.
Come on.
Apparently it does heal.
And you can move them independently once it has.
Hang on. If our trades have to be done by Aldred, doesn't Aldred have to put his hand in while Ode plays?
That's not happening. Is this a transaction though?
This is a transaction of gold.
It's a bet rather than it is a sale.
Yeah.
It's all in the fine print.
And she kind of like back into a tent, and she kind of comes out with the most kind of like just basically large kind of like longsword. It's probably about her height, and she's got a shank of ham, and she kind of puts the ham on, and she kind of like it's quite unweighty, and she swings and slices down in a really unwieldy fashion and slices straight through the ham, burning and all. It's pretty sharp. And then she kind of like goes back for 30. I'll just have to drink some of this brandy too. Does wonders for the coordination. Are you ready?
No.
So it's essentially.
Can I get a drink of that?
Even better. She hands it across to you. It's really strong. As you kind of bring it up to your eyes, up to your mouth, you kind of like get some of your nostril, and your eyes really start to water. This is going straight to the brain.
Can I make a performance check to hold my liquor?
Well, it'd be more of a constitution check if you're drinking it. Performance would be to like.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Performance would be more to show like you're drinking more than you are. So.
Well, it's more of a case of like, no, I'm fine, honest.
Okay, well, if you're swilling it all and you kind of want to gird yourself so that you're kind of like not drunk, then Constitution, a con save. If you're going to take a little bit but make it look like you took loads, Performance.
Oh, performance, not deception. Either's good.
Performance, deception.
Okay.
Pick one. Don't mind.
Plus 12.
Plus fucking 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you kind of like take the smallest bit, which just burns.
Yeah.
And then you do the whole. Yeah, okay.
Why are my maps coming in so huge?
They are coming in pretty big.
What can I say? I come in pretty big. Okay, so then it's a will save. That's
Ooh, a will save? That's pretty
no,
cool.
a wisdom save. That will is the wrong addition. Wisdom save. Okay, and it'll be versus DC 15. Because she's got quite a scary large weapon. She's pissed and she has a very unwieldy. Okay.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
So she starts to kind of like, and then lifts it up.
Wisdom save, right?
Yeah, and then she's like, so it's all very slow at the start. Hey, so yeah, you pass. Drop to 1, that would have been hilarious. I dropped to 3 or something, right? And then she's like, and then she kind of like starts to get a cadence, but it's all swinging.
Yeah.
And it's kind
of fucking hell.
The table, like bits of wood are flying. Kind of like you kind of like don't want to move because it's after what feels like a decade.
Hungover.
Yeah. So but you manage to hold your nerve where you get a crowd kind of like gathers around. It feels like it's a decade, but maybe it's a minute or two.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like just stops and swings, turns her back, and then just goes backwards like that. And you can't really kind of like about to pull away, and it just lands straight in front of your fingers. And everybody cheers. And then a couple of people are like, drunk, not brave. And then you hear a voice saying, I thought it was all right. I mean, I've seen that. But it did all right, didn't he? Yeah, it's not bad for a big man. And kind of like you gain back 60 gold.
Yeah.
Well done. Kind of.
So I gain 60 gold on top of what I've already got.
No, so you paid 30, you get 60 back, so your net 30.
So
Right, okay, that's fine. So I've gained 30 gold on top of what I've... Yeah.
It was
Any other takers?
Kind of one of them kind of like steps forward, one of the orc, kind of in this big spiky studded leather.
I get my knife out.
He slaps down 100 gold. Shivju's like,
might have to do the rest in silver. No, I'm looking to for someone else to put their hand down.
yeah. So the orc moves you off. And kind of like puts 100 gold down. So Shivju puts the longsword down, goes into a tent, and you see a dragon, the two-handed sword. Which is maybe. And she drags out another brandy. This orc is like started to ashen faced. And then she says, "Do it, artist. Do me the honours, Ode. And she chucks you the mask, the blindfold. And you put the blindfold on this kind of slightly wobbly kind of goblin. And she gets these. And you know when you're lifting something that you can't quite carry?
Yeah.
She's kind of like staggering around a little bit. And
It's like the Buster sword or something.
yeah. It's like twice her height, massive two-handed sword that she kind of clearly isn't. And the orc kind of just goes, I'll be alright. Just slowly backs away. And she's like, oh, that's her. I don't recall that.
Well, I think I've got enough extra gold out of that, so I'm quite happy there. Ode will then mosey his way.
Mosey.
Yeah. To where is it? He's going to mosey his way down to the brothel tent. Now, I'm presuming.
You got hard pussy, cold pussy.
Can I cast protect from poison?
We've got
and
fresh
disease?
pussy. We've got undead pussy. We've got animated. We've got animated undead pussy. We've got free-willed undead pussy. We've got corporeal pussy. We've got incorporeal pussy.
I just got rid of remove curse as well.
We got
I'm
got
presuming
gelato.
this is probably the. Would you be able to get a bath here?
You kind of go up to the guy who's like, got gelatinous cube pussy. We got black mold pussy, and you're like, any chance of a bath, mate?
I'll have the cleanest pussy.
And he kind of like
And some hot water.
he looks at you and says, "No problem, fella." He doesn't say, I'm trying. I want to keep that. I want to keep that accent for that guy. He goes, "Yeah, not a problem, fella. Come on, through here." Takes like 5 silver.
Turns out he's half elf. He's like, well, howdy.
And you're kind of shown through the tent. Kind of go past all this. It's just some people with some bellows.
They're having a great time.
And you're shown through to basically the staff area and lots of different creatures there, and kind of able to get yourself cleaned up a little bit there if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to Fenn.
So, what was the Displacer beast? Was it a baby Displacer?
Yeah,
beast,
it's
was
a
it?
young Displaced beast. Yeah, Nutmeg.
Yeah. That was it. I was trying to remember the name.
Let's go grab a beer.
So I'm keeping hold of Nutmeg.
Okay.
And
Are you?
it's mine now. I'm not handing that over. Come in, I'll try for anything.
Hey, it's my delivery.
Yeah, but remember this. There is an Elithid expecting that. Just put it out.
Yeah, I'll just.
And Aleph is expecting Aldred to deliver that correction.
Give me my Displacer beast.
I'll keep a hold of it from now on. I'm going to try and bond with it a bit. But
How are you gonna try and bond with it?
I'm really good at animal handling.
Animal.
it's just a cat, so I'm just going to like.
Not.
It's a cat. Meow.
Right.
You're gonna give it some string.
Yeah.
Displacer beast nap or Displacer beast nip.
So I want to go to Albanese's documents.
Yeah.
But I'll have to take Aldred with me because he's the money man. So
Aldred has never been so popular with the group.
I know. So I'll ask Aldred if he'll help me out, but I'm going to be vague about what I want him to be there for. I just need him to sign it off.
Yeah, that's fine. You're like one of the people I trust the most, so.
Really?
Have
to use that to my advantage later?
It's a low. It's a really low bar. I mean, it's used. The bar is used for limboing.
So I'll go in. He's a dwarf, isn't he, Albanese? Male or female? It's unclear. Okay.
I do use the male pronoun throughout, but it is unclear. Kind of like you think it's like it's got the body shape of a male, but the kind of like female facial characteristics, and his clothing isn't like skin tight or anything like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Be a tomboy.
I mean, to be perfectly honest,
what's that called?
probably for Fenn, he's a dwarf.
Yeah. Just looks like him. I'll go in. Greetings, sir, ma'am, dwarf.
Great.
I hear you're a master forger.
Yes, that's right. You can tell by the way I wrote it on my sign.
And I'll kind of glance over at Aldred a little bit, if Aldred's come with me at this point.
As you kind of like go in, there's an incredibly kind of meticulously tidy desk. You know, it's one of those desks where there's a pen laid out there. He's got a single kind of like sheet of parchment that he's very meticulously writing in. As you kind of like came in, he finished off his line, stopped it, got a little bit of cloth, wiped the ink off his nib, kind of like very deliberately put that down in a space, and you can see the grooves in the desk where that pen has gone very, tens of thousands of times before. And you can see kind of a number of books. And there's framed letters of introduction and commission and passage and all that kind of stuff around his tent.
And the quality all looks really good on a lot of these.
You'd
As
let
far
the
as I
guy
can
in.
tell.
You'd let the guy
Yeah.
in. Bearing that.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. So your background means that you've been exposed to this kind of stuff, and he is top notch. It feels right. It feels pretty good, and a lot of it's also kind of like aged. By aged, I mean kind of like a few hundred years old. So some of them are like it's not just kind of like current documents, but these are I uncovered this in a tomb, and this now gives you blah 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 stuff.
all right.
Would you say Albanese is good then?
Yeah.
Like easy good. Albanese is good.
I turn to Fenn and I say, "Do you suppose he has Xanathar's signature?"
I expect even he doesn't know who Xanathar is. Do you know who Xanathar is?
Nobody knows who Xanathar is.
So I'll turn to Albanese. How much do you charge for birth certificates?
From which jurisdiction?
And I'll kind of glance at like Aldred and lean in like and kind of whisper, "What Davian nobility?"
Well, Aldred does have a brother that we need to replace.
I just kind of shrugged and I was just going to go with it.
Things are afoot with Gilbert that you may find out if you head to the surface. Spoiler.
He's in the gutter.
No, the biggest problem.
Lost his socks.
The things that are mostly afoot with Gilbert are a steady supply of socks because they just keep going missing. Current or historical? Would the recipient of the birth certificate be alive?
Yes.
That would be... Which noble house do you have in mind?
The Van der Vries house.
To my knowledge, they're not Waterdeepian nobility. They are Neverwinter nobility.
The Waterdeepian with and Chultian, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, for the Van der Vries, that would be around about. Let me think. There are two options for you. The first option is that I can develop one of those for 350 gold pieces. For 900 gold pieces, I can ensure that a copy, 900 additional gold pieces, I can ensure that a copy is lodged in the Waterdeep Hall of Records.
Oh.
So I lean over quickly to Fenn and be like, "You've only got 200 of this from me."
I've got 307 gold. That's all I have.
Okay.
What I like is how Josh pulls his mic in close when he's whispering.
Just to make sure it's a whisper.
And 11 gems, which I don't know how much these are worth.
As you're kind of like
weren't they
having that
150
conversation, Albanese just stands there stoically. You can't tell if he's particularly listening in. Albanese, oh, and a kind of youngish man kind of walks into the tent. He's wearing the religious robes of a cleric of a monk of Ogma. Very, very clear.
Sure.
Kind of, you immediately recognise them from the streets of Waterdeep. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise there was clients here. I'll just take a pace back. If you would do, Gar, and kind of figure steps back. Leaves the tent.
And what was the deity?
Ogma, the god of knowledge.
That's the one Sangalor reveres as well.
Yeah, he's actually on the dog and phone to Sangal at the moment on the old Ogma net. Is IMing me on Skype for business. I've seen a Displaced piece. Looks a bit like nutmeg.
So if I get this right, the price that were quoted at each of these things, is that not include the, was it 50 gold?
So you paid 50 gold
On the way in, Aldred
yeah.
did that, yeah.
I did that.
Okay, so it's not good. Oh, I don't have enough.
Yeah, this isn't America, so this is all inclusive of taxes.
You're right.
It's not like we're not the States where you have to add sales state tax and then GST and SST or whatever it is.
So
Because American viewers, that's madness. Not that we have any American viewers.
Albanese, would you take 300 gold and a bag of gems?
Depends upon the value of the gems.
I'll get out my bag of gems. 11 gems I'm holding because I think someone stole the other one.
Can you remember how much they're worth? Because I can't.
No, it was undetermined value. You get.
It was an undetermined value.
Oh, it's that bag of gems.
But do you want me to like do the first 200 because that's just whatever.
Well, how much gold do you have?
I got so like
I'm saying this in character.
I'll explain this. So in character, I'll be like, I got these gems before heading down to Undermountain. I didn't share this with you because Torquil almost stole them on our first trip down.
Aldred, there's something I should probably tell you that I haven't told anyone else. You may have guessed by now. My birthright isn't as poor as one would assume.
Based upon my poverty.
I would have never guessed that.
Good, and that's how it should stay.
Albanese leans forward and says, "This advice is for free. You're in a forger's shop where I deal in things that appear to be true but aren't. Perhaps you shouldn't always believe what people say so simply." Now, I will have to have these gems appraised. I love gems, I see.
How long would that take?
A couple of days.
I'm happy to leave them with you if you give me some kind of receipt.
I feel you should find out, Fenn, while you were looking away, Paul just opened his mouth. He just went...
He picks up his pen and goes, "I'm more than happy to write out a receipt. I'm a forger."
11 small stones.
Maybe I should get these appraised myself.
I think that would be wise. Why don't we just give them? We just need the 300 to make the thing, right?
Yeah, we need the 300 to make the thing.
So you've got 200 from me. So do you want to give them the rest in gold?
Right,
and
I'll
then
give
you'll
them the
appraise
rest in gold. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It will
We'll
take
do
a few days for me to do this. 5 days.
I'll give him all the details of the names that I need to be on there, like the father, the mother, even like any further lineage back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
So the second they leave the shop, Aldred's going to be like, "Are you a bastard?"
Yeah, he is. I could have told you that.
I mean, he's all right, but
he's a
No,
right.
he's just a cunt.
He's a right bastard as well.
We're all
actually.
bastards, Aldred.
I'm the bastard.
I'm the alpha bastard.
That tickled him.
You're broken.
I think I might have broken Martin.
Yeah. It's all right. We've got a spare.
We've got an air and a spare. Yeah.
Oh no, he's got no hair.
Got a hat and a spare.
All right, so you gave me 200, so that I'm down another 100.
yeah.
That's all right. 200. Oh. I'm just carrying nutmeg under my arm the entire time.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, you think you are?
Yeah, I think I am. it switches arm without me knowing.
Okay, I'll leave you guys there, and we'll go across to Oban.
I was actually thinking Oban is probably following Aldred around, because I think from what Oban's seen, he thinks Aldred's in charge.
Well, that's Oban and Aldred then.
So I think Oban's just following around to try to figure out what is going on with these 5 guys who are just like he has no idea.
So you're stood outside
Sorry,
this
apologies.
Yeah, Oban stood outside this shop with like Fenn and Aldred going in. He just comes out and he just hears Aldred go say, "Are you a bastard?" What went on in there?
What I like is the suggestion that these 5 freaks know what the hell they're doing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to figure out what is going on.
Well, if Oban's bounced around like Aldred's like a rubber ball going from group to group to group.
Yeah, and he's kind of found out what he wanted to, which we covered last week with so I think there's not much else here for Oban. So yeah, I think he's going to be following Aldred around.
Yeah.
You wanted to go to Waterdeep for activities, right?
Say again, sorry.
You want to go to Waterdeep, right? Like that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, as far as you guys are concerned, Oban's just kind of he's almost serving you, but not to an exploitable extent.
Well, I don't know. He's pretty dumb, so.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so you kind of like you following these guys around. It comes to the point where you kind of like need to sleep, and you settle down into a sleep. Do you normally dream? Does Oban normally remember his dreams?
No, probably not normally.
Okay, well, then nothing happens then. That was a dick move, I should say. But you remember this one. So the natural scenery is breathtaking. You kind of have a buttress of rock that goes just like a wall that rises off into the mists that are kind of gathered there, and you feel a little bit cold. The moisture is in the air. You turn around behind you, there's a crystalline lake, still as millwater, and on the surface it reflects the jagged snow-covered peaks gathered around, and the air is fresh. You look across your left down into a valley, where out of the mist in the valley again rises the top of giant redwood trees that themselves are probably rising thousands of feet up into the air. And it's this kind of location from which Mielikki, your goddess, draws her power. The wonder that people feel, and the enchantment from this lovely, beautiful, pristine nature. and your eye is drawn up to just below the mists, just below there, as a rock comes tumbling kind of down, starts to carry other rocks with it, and you see your beloved. She's ascending a tough rake, which is a path that kind of is on the side of the buttress, and you can see some rocks, and she's just crumbling up, kind of pulling herself, dragging herself, stopping to breathe, and you hear a bark shout, "Come on, you!" Down, and she sighs again. But there's something strange. Her head is encased in what looks to be a glass jar, like a fluid in there, and she kind of moves off, and you scream her name, and it echoes off the buttress and echoes around, but she can't hear you. You feel a hand, a warming hand, kind of gently press against yours. She can't hear you, my child, and you're filled with the deep and profound sense of power, a sense of rawness, a spiritual presence, and you turn and you see Mielikki, your goddess, in her form as a savage warrior. Her hair is braided. She has paint down her face, a strong high cheekbones, and a firm set to her mouth. Deep brown eyes that you can just feel yourself falling into. A pouting chest. I don't know why I said that. She can't hear you. She's lost. She's encased in a rock, but instead of heading upwards to ascend, she is heading downwards to descend. An evil creature has wormed its way into her brain and is controlling her. It has not yet wormed its way into her spirit, so I can feel her connection to me. Remember. Go. Talk to me, Oban.
How can I help her?
You must follow her on this path. Removing this vileness is hard, and it is corrupting her. But it is a slow process, and one that she is fighting strongly against. There is little places of natural wonder in this under mountain. But on one of the levels there is a wooden grove, and one of our servants resides there. If you can bring her to that wooden grove, I will be able to visit through the power of the natural landscape there, and together I think we will be able to bring her back to you, physically, spiritually, and intellectually.
Will you guide me there?
I am not able to. There is a force that stops me, and my power extends so weakly into the earth. It is only because of the natural environment that has been created there that I can even extend so far. You are my champion in this, Oban, and I know that our interests align, for you love her, even though I recall when you two met, and I saw through both of your eyes. She is ugly even by the standards of your race, but you saw past that, and you saw into and through the differences, such that the mutual love that you have has allowed you to see past the superficial differences. I shared this with Se2, the goddess of love and beauty, and she also blesses your union. It is a truly profound thing. You can take your time. This is not a race. Trees grow slowly, but they grow relentlessly. But take her to the wildwood. Allow me to visit in a ritual that the archdruid there will help you perform.
My heart aches with every minute. every second and I am away. But I will find her, and I will take her to this grove. And I will find you, also.
I am with you. You don't need to find me. You carry me with you. But in case there are difficulties, in case there are trials and tribulations, I grant you this. And she turns, and there's a huge shire horse-sized unicorn. It attracts the light to it, and it radiates this soft, pale moonlight around. And she reaches back, and she takes a single hair, and she pulls it. The unicorn reels a little from the stinking pain, and then quiet, nestle, quiet. And she hands you the hair. This will glow like a light in the darkness. Take it and find a use for it. It has many uses, and it will be your intent that will guide it. It can do not much more than that which is within my portfolio. So it will not ravage with fire, nor will it break with sound, but it will renew life, and it will engender wonder in the natural world, and it can do those things that nature can do so well. The trees grow slowly, but they grow relentlessly open. And then the dream fades into darkness.
And when I wake, do I have the hair?
You have the hair. Mm-hmm. And it does indeed glow with a soft moonlight.
I'll keep it hidden.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to some comedy. Aldred.
I was just going to say, and then Oban's, does Aldred call Fenn a bastard? Aldred's basically just like the walking purse at the moment. The only thing that could entice him in the market would be if he could find material to jot down stuff in his spellbook. But I don't think it'd be at a good price here.
No, they're ripping you off. You know, this is a tourist trap.
It's a victim of its own success.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Oh, by the way, guys, at some point you lose Aldred, and you just like think, shit, we're gonna have to cancel all our cards. It's gonna be a nightmare. So you just decide to wait until it turns up with this like niggling theory that somebody's probably taken him and is just emptying your money out of him, as I speak.
He hasn't got our money. He's only got his own.
Do you think you could cancel a bank card in 25 words or less?
Yeah, message.
Hi.
I don't think you get through authentication.
Yeah, and your account number and sort code.
Okay.
You lose 16 with that.
Okay, so we'll move on to Zerelda then. Is there anything that Zerelda particularly wants to do in the few days or so that you probably?
I would like to do a couple of things, if I may. First of all, Aldred, do you have Identify?
No, I prefer the more explosive spells and the more defensive spells.
Well, what good are you?
I mean, like, at least 3 fireballs combat.
Ode, take an inspiration, because that laugh is exactly how I imagined Ode responding to that comment.
Okay. Would there be somewhere that I might be able to get? Apparently, I acquired some magical powder that no one knew anything about.
Hold on. I'm just going to try and use a spell pool to get Identify. There we go, like the first time I'm using it.
Oh my god, Aldred, you are useful for the first time in forever.
Is that
wait till he succeeds.
Check it's a wizard spell. It's got to be a wizard spell, right?
It's a wizard spell, yeah.
It is a wizard spell.
They're like wizard spells are all the spells.
So what, it's 65% and take away 5% per spell level above 1. Is that what you said?
That's right, yeah.
I presume this is happening probably at the bar.
Right.
Or in that general vicinity. Ode is getting blind drunk.
I'll just throw a percentile for you, and what am I trying to get? Above... No.
How far through the book are you?
Wait,
What
I'm
is it
trying to
you
get
want to
below
do?
65 because you reduced right?
2 seconds.
Or I don't even think it is even a first level spell.
Okay. I'm good now.
I'll throw the percentage and then. But I'm looking for a low number, right, Paul? Is that right?
Okay. Sorry, I was distracted. What was the question? Sorry.
I'm looking for a low percentage because you reduce the
Yes.
percentage every time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Nope.
No, unfortunately, no.
Well, what good are you?
I tried.
Okay. Would there be anywhere that I might be able to get? Did I acquire a small baggie of magical powder?
Yes.
It was an urn. It was the urn I pointed out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
No, we've got the urn was something else. You pointed out was magical in the corner, and she went and
You
nicked
do
it before anyone
have.
could have a
You
look.
do have some magical powder. Yes.
Yeah.
Would there be anywhere I might be able to get it identified here?
We can try again tomorrow. And this
Just
is something
sniff
I
it
can
and
do.
see what happens.
Okay, we'll try again tomorrow.
Licking it.
Oh, are we getting multiple days here?
I'm assuming so because you probably it depends what you want to do, but you've certainly you're gonna have a long rest for Oban's dream
Right.
sequence.
So we'll say that's when we showed up, and this is the next day after Oban's had his dream. Ooh.
I had to wait 3 days.
Is it a second
for
level
the
spell now? Because that's the deal breaker.
Sorry.
I think it is second level.
Is it not first level?
I thought I'd done it if I was first level.
If it's first level, I've got it.
Identify spells. It is a first level spell.
Oh, I've got it.
Well done. So you call out to the magical energies of the guild of what was it?
I need
High
a-
Magisters.
I
blah,
need
blah,
a
blah,
pearl though.
Oh.
I need a pearl worth 100 gold pieces.
You'll be able to find.
Yeah, there must be a pearl that they
Can I
can
go
buy
and
for
steal a
500.
pearl?
There'll be a pearl necklace in the brothel.
So how do you want to get a pearl, Zerelda?
It's worth 100 gold
No,
pieces.
I actually want to go and do some other espionage, so I don't think I will steal a pearl. But
Let's just leave that then.
okay, we'll just park the magic powder for now. That's
Okay.
parked. Right.
That's crazy.
Did you say that there was some Zentarum in the bar?
There will
They're
be
at the
some
stock
Zentarum.
exchange, aren't they?
Well, they'll end up in the bar at some point because pretty much kind of everybody does. They're not in the bar at the moment because they have got some harpers there, and somebody's talked to a harper who got incredibly drunk. And they're deciding that discretion is the better part of not getting stabbed.
Right, okay.
Oh,
Because
God.
I was kind of hoping to do a bit of like, what are they doing there? Are they plotting something? Kind of listening in, activity on the down low, maybe.
Okay.
I was going to disguise myself as a bugbear. Maybe.
So there's a stock exchange where they're kind of like, okay, so yeah, you can do that. Okay, so what, disguise self spell?
Yeah.
Disguise yourself as a bugbear? Do you need to like make any rolls there? I don't think so. It just happens.
Can he get advantage if he sounds like a bugbear? Just an owl bear just now.
An owl bear?
Oh no, sorry, I'm away.
That's a complicated thing. Change yourself into a bugbear pretending to be an owl bear. I'm a bugbear impressionist, all right?
So, if goblins are from Birmingham, where are bugbears from?
They're probably...
Norwich.
No, that's too far away.
Norwich.
That's too far away. I reckon bugbears are probably from kind of like, let's think.
East Midlands.
So,
Shrewsbury.
probably Wolverhampton.
A Swindon bugbear.
The
There'll
thing
be
is,
black country
They're
stuff.
Londoners.
particularly the Staffordshire side.
Yeah, very much a Staffordshire size. As you kind of like get to the other side, then you're moving into hobgoblin territory.
Okay.
And you
So-
won't want to get that. You won't get that wrong. There's that stabbing. There's stabbing to be had right there.
Oh yeah, it's the East Midlands.
So after kind of like
I don't get so drunk he starts singing a song.
let's hear it.
Oh, nice to see you haven't left since Monday. It's now Saturday.
Yeah.
It's the safest place for him
at this point.
There
was a young lady who was stronger than me. Her skin was so red that her enemies flee. She dragged me by the ankles right into her shed, then beat me and hit me and fucked me till dead.
Ode, I will do number 1 and 2, but not 3 if you don't shut up.
Ho, hobnobbing hobgoblins. Hobnobbing hobgoblins, my heart is now gone.
Hang on, am I disguised?
Oh,
Get yourself out of here.
hobgoblins. My knob is now missing, and so is her dagger.
Taking inspiration for that. Bravo.
Is this just in the background of the bar?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Someone change the jukebox.
There's a couple of patrons chuck things
It's
kind of like at him. There's a small dragon, and by small I mean like kind of like house cat sized. And if you kind of like think it's not really dragon shaped, it's just like lizard, fat like lizard, and it just goes. Bleh! And then like just stale beer comes out and goes, that went off bad. How does it go again? There was an old woman from Cork. She really liked to have a length of pork.
Alexa, stop.
Zerelda, I've got another song just for you.
She had so much pork that in the end came a stork. And that was the end of her love for pork.
Oh, did you just say you have another song for me?
Yep.
Do you think you could save that one for the morning? I like a little ditty at the early hours.
Dan Bar just can't get any work these days.
Oh, he's doing it. It's coming. There ain't no stopping this.
A number of goblins come along and say, "Ode, go home. You're drunk."
I just put on the floor in front of him for some coins.
There's a small clutch as Ode basically kind of like just Brexit, fades off into kind of like slumbering in the corner. A small group of kind of well, you recognise them as having been traded in before in the Zentarium. Kind of come up. They've got a couple of really big human kind of like bodyguards, and they kind of clear a bit of space for themselves and start to kind of like have a drink, quietly conversing to themselves. There is a lady who's wearing possibly too much makeup, kind of like really blacks, kind of like eye makeup with kind of deep purple through there. It's supposed to try to make her look more, you think, probably more corpse-like. It's kind of like really shallow, kind of like,
God.
Yeah, very much that kind of thing.
She's gone mad with her contouring.
Yeah. And then there's a guy who's got really kind of like messy hair. Both of them are wearing robes, and they have like wands and rings and other.
Is this
wizarding
Theresa May and Boris
things.
Johnson?
It is now.
Basically.
Sounds more like Black Rod.
Basically. And they're staring daggers at a kind of like an oldish looking woman who's got a spider brooch on. How to politicize your stream in 2 easy seconds. So you're what? Disguise yourself as a bugbear?
Yes.
And what kind of so bugbear? But what kind of clothing are you wearing and stuff?
Well, I was thinking like kind of as a waitress in maybe the tavern, getting drinks, going backwards and forwards to the table.
Okay, yeah.
Checking out what they're doing.
Don't bears just wear a single red T-shirt and that's it, like Winnie the Pooh, and then nothing underneath.
No,
Donald Duck in
Donald
it.
Duck in it.
Bugbears are more like Bungle. They get dressed to go to bed, and then become naked for the rest of the day. Okay, so what you try to do, kind of overhear their conversation and stuff.
Overhear their conversation, see if they're passing anything across the table, that kind of thing. Just, too much customer service, kind of just backwards and forwards.
Okay. So as you kind of
what can I get for you? Do you want another beer?
Yes, please.
They're both drinking wine. Both drinking the wine.
Wine, you fancy, are you?
Be still, creature, and get us our drinks.
All right. I'm off.
Okay, so I don't think I needed a deception roll or anything like that because you the disguise self, so it's all pretty congruent and stuff. But they do quieten down and stop their discussions when you do come over. So how do you want to kind of get over that fact? What do you want to do?
Invisible.
Yeah, I guess sort of just perhaps then drop the disguise and re-enter, take a seat somewhere close by, but not right next to them.
Okay. So yeah, you head out a little bit, drop the disguise. Before you drop the disguise, you collect like 3 copper wages for your shift.
See you, Terry. I'm off.
And I'm like, who is that guy?
Yeah, okay, so you sit there. You're going to try and listen in?
Yes.
Okay, so
I don't have invisibility, you see.
Make a perception roll.
Perception?
Yeah.
All my stuff's disappeared, by the way. I don't know. Since the woman's head appeared.
Oh, you can close that window.
You need to zoom that out. Drag it around.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's basically it's an image, just like a map as it happens. So you can do whatever you want to do with that.
Perception. 13.
Okay. So you listen in, but the hubbub of the bar, there's some twat of a bard snoring really fucking loudly in the corner. So just generally quite hard, and they're intentionally keeping their voices down. But the snippets of conversation are about shipments of goods, kind of that need to be moved. They're bringing them in into Waterdeep, and then they're going to shipping them off south to Tethia, and there is some discussion about the fact that they need to get them to a place called the Protectorate of Mintar. You don't really recognise that name. They're then going to be essentially killed, turned into zombies, and then you don't quite. The discussion doesn't kind of go on much past that.
Okay.
I mean, you do know, however, it's quite famous that area, Tethia, that butts onto the Protectorate Mintar has really strong kind of like import laws. There's some twat of a paladin who's kind of like really, really reinforcing, kind of like if you bring something in by accident, you're still going to die.
Someone might say he's a religious zealot and a bit of a jihadist.
You could say that. It might be that wiser heads prevail, and that just happening to carry a set of candles doesn't lead to your murder. But it's an open question at the moment. And if you want to know what we're on about, go and check our Tales and Troubles videos.
Okay, that'll do. Can I do some stuff the next day?
Yeah. We're in narrative time at the moment, so it's very fluid.
Just to relive her former life, Zerelda decides that she's going to enter the fighting pits.
Oh.
Just because she still can't quite get over the fact that she doesn't have a warhammer anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you do have a warhammer. You just can't wield it.
Yeah.
You're just not strong enough to pick it up.
It's still in your bag.
No, I lost all my shit.
Oh, you did, yeah.
No, you got a
You
warhammer.
picked up one, though.
Yeah, you got a warhammer from the fisherman thing.
The troglodyte.
Yes, I wasn't a cleric then. The only that's it. I don't have the chainmail anymore because Iggy made it into a chain shirt for me by hacking away the bottom part.
Yeah. No, skillfully crafting it.
Okay, so pit fighting takes a week because you kind of got to get in there. You've got to kind of got to get yourself registered, and then they've got to kind of put you in a bout and such like. So it's a downtime that takes a week. So if you want to spend the week there, that's cool.
They've got to do promotions, posters.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wants to be my manager? Probably Aldred. He's got money.
Fenn can be your training partner.
I mean, what the hell does Aldred know about? He's a noble.
You can cheat with magic.
You just got sponsored by the Eltorchul Academy or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
so
put in our education in your.
You'd be far better with the street toughs.
Okay.
Fenn's done pit fighting before.
Yeah, okay, so we can do the downtime, don't matter, it's just a set of rolls, it doesn't actually take, we don't have to role play it all out, and that just means everybody else gets like a week's worth of downtime, which isn't a bad thing, and then we can say what we're going to do. But if we do that and then take a quick break, and then we can come back and we can kind of move on.
Can I just do one thing first then?
Yeah.
Am I aware we're planning eventually at getting back to Waterdeep?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to cast Sending to Torquil.
Okay.
Howdy, Torquil.
G'day, Bruce.
I believe we may be heading to Waterdeep. I would be mighty grateful if you and C could get back there ASAP. Is that a word each?
You've got one left.
Sewers.
So what did you say? Sorry.
That I'd be very grateful if C and Torquil could get to Waterdeep at some point soon. I'll meet and then sewers to imply that I'll meet them at the sewers.
A lot of sewers, though.
Yeah, there's a big sewer.
There's an entire city worth of sewers.
I ran out of words.
Send it again.
Yeah, just cast it again.
Does he get one reply with sending, or is that a different spell?
Yeah, you get one reply.
No, you can send a short message. Here's a message that's mine. Recognize you send if it knows it. I can answer in a like manner immediately. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Good day. Good day, Zerelda. Loving to hear from ya. Hope the weather is great. Not bad down here. Fuck, that's too many. Oh.
No, you had 9 more. You've got 5 left.
Oh, actually, can't count as it. He's a good lad, is that Torquil?
I'm assuming Mask will provide.
And then Ascending comes to you. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Screwed up. Mask will provide. Cheers.
Oh, I get to reply now?
Yeah, you do.
Mask will provide. In fact, he has sent me a quest, and that's why I need you to meet me in the sewers. Bye. Pub that we've been to before.
Oh, the one near Skull, whatever your mansion
Yawning Portal.
Yes, but the Yawning Portal. By the Yawning Portal.
Okay. So you were replying to his, so he can't reply back to you. He says, but he just ascended himself. Got that, the old fella. Understand. Don't know why I've gone Australian at the start and now Cockney. Whatever. Bit of a problem, actually. Skullport's on a bit of a lockdown from the Xanathars. But we'll see what we can do. Mass provides. Loving it. See you. Have I got any more words? What do you mean? No, I'm not putting the bin out. I put the bin out last week.
You hear Ticky Bobs in the background.
Yeah, Ticky Bobs. Oh, some of the drawings that Ticky Bobs and the other one, whose name I can't remember at the moment, do have surfaced as some of the goods from Old Bessie. You know, the fan art of the kind of heroes of Church. Or well, it's pornographic fan art as it happens, but
Standard. Oh, so just standard fan fiction. Then.
fan face. Yeah. Okay, so do we want to do this down? Do we want to do this downtime?
It's a
So the
self-portrait.
pit
Yeah, that's
fighting.
good.
Okay, so
the only downtime I really want to do is transfer stuff in.
transfer stuff.
If I can,
I don't have materials. I don't have materials right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this downtime because that'll also you'll get your gems appraised and pick up your stuff as well. Okay. So you make 3 checks: strength, dex, and a special constitution check. So you make 3 checks. Right.
Checks. Okay, so strength. Oof.
If I'm Zerelda's training partner, can I also compete?
Yeah. Disguise yourself.
Yeah, can we compete as a group, or is it like is it all one-on-one?
It's all one.
No,
all one. This isn't
Ooh.
Gladiator.
We'd beat the shit out of you.
Oh.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna make a check. Right. Hold on. Sorry. So before we
I
go
think
into this.
it's already. Oh, boy.
Okay. So you made a strength check. Right. So you make a strength, dexterity, and a special constitution check. They have a bonus equal to your character's largest hit die.
So 6.
And if desired, you can replace one of these skill checks with an attack roll using one of the character's weapons.
Okay. So
got
I
the
add
special
6 to all of those as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll re-roll my Constitution one.
Your hit die's a D8, not a D6.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gus.
Yeah, you're a cleric. It's a D8. D6 is sorcerers and wizards only.
And
Okay.
I need to generate a DC.
No,
I
Wizard's a
need to,
D4, mate. I think.
No, you're D6. No one's below a D.
It was last edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only work in 5e.
I'm a D6. Yeah.
Okay. So the DC for the first one, for the strength one, is 15. Is 20.
Oh.
So you're up against Zarag the Strong. He's a bugbear. You can tell he was running a bit late because he's come in his gym jams. So he then takes them off, and you're fighting a naked bugbear. And he kind of like, this is the strength one, isn't it? So bang, poof, bang, poof, bang. It's quite close. You bang, poof, bang him back, but he punches you, kind of smacks your jaw against the side, and just starts a frenzy. And you have to hold him back. You're pretty battered there. So the next one you got, what, 25?
Yeah.
And that is 4-9. So you're up against Larry the Limp, who's a goblin. He kind of
Unfortunate.
I'm a bit fast, me. I'm like a sturge. Like, you know, sting like a sturge, fly like a sturge, or something like that. I'm like one hit wonder, boom, poof, poof, down he goes. You take the prize winnings of 50 gold pieces. If you remember, this was massive. This was like the cash.
It's profitable.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
If
This
you
is
win
what
it,
I want to re-roll
So you're re-rolling that. So you make an attack roll with your
with the
attack
dagger.
weapon. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, very nice. Let's go check the technology on the character's weapons. Okay, so now that is against 10 plus 5. So you're up against Nermal the Nermal of the Pit. And it's your classic Roman gladiator with a trident and a net. And it's kind of like he's got the mask on there, and he's a fan favourite. Nermal of the Pit, go yeah, Nermal. Or actually, because most of the population is goblin. Nermal. Normal. Normal, okay, go, yeah. Normal.
Right.
No, alright. Go normal. Go normal. Go normal. He's alright, he's our normal. And you kill him, basically. Accidentally, that's right.
By
Get
accident.
him. You kind of like, he throws the kind of like net at you, but Mask provides, and you dodge out of the way. Then he gets his trident stuck into the ground, and you kind of like manage to really kind of scrape the dagger across his ribs.
Do I like Arya Stark him?
Yeah, and you win 100. So you win another 50, so you've got 100 gold.
Oh, lovely! So close to a diamond.
Can you roll me percentile to see if you got a complication?
Yes. That's that one, isn't it?
Oh, he's purring.
Oh, that didn't actually do anything. Hang
Is
on.
it a new pussy?
I tell you
Oh,
what,
he's been around for a while.
I reckon
Nine.
Martin's an ancient Egyptian. It's like sat there with Bast on his lap and everything. Okay, fine, no complications. Okay.
It's a bit mean having a cat with no hair on it up in Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't stop him, believe me. Ow!
He's like, yeah, you bastard, take me somewhere south.
Oh, by your hand.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to take a break because I need to refill some water and get a snack. So shall we go through to half past?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Cheers.